Scene 14, first days of school. The first day of high school didn't come with excitement, it came with pressure. My dad drove me to William Penn that morning. No radio, just the low hum of the road and the sound of thoughts neither of us said out loud. I sat stiff in the seat, backpack resting heavy in my lap like it might keep me anchored. When we pulled up, my chest tightened immediately. William Penn was enormous, not just big, but overwhelming. Buses were stacked up back to back, and hundreds of kids flooded the sidewalk at once. Laughter bouncing off the building, people moving with purpose like they already knew exactly where they were supposed to be. I felt late to something I didn't even understand. Dad parked and looked over at me. "You straight, Mr. K?" "Yeah," I said, even though my stomach was flipping. He nodded once, hand resting briefly on the steering wheel. "Remember, your name already means something. Just don't rush to prove it." That stuck with me as I exited the car to enter the building. The day itself seemed like a blur. Big classrooms, teachers talking fast like we'd already done this before, kids clicking up, forming groups before lunch even hit. I stayed quiet, learned the hallways the hard way, and watched how people moved. All of a sudden, I heard my name. "Ace? Rhonda?" Seeing her there grounded me more than I. One familiar face in a building that big made it feel survivable. I knew Rhonda from the club. I hadn't seen her in the last 2 years. Rumor was she moved. That's why she stopped coming to the club. I couldn't believe how much she had changed. At the club, Rhonda was always with the boys. Now she was girly. We gave each other a hug, but we didn't cling to each other. Just knowing she existed in that space mattered. Then there was Frankie. I met him in gym class. Loud, sharp, and funny as shit without forcing it. He sat next to me and started talking like we'd been cool for years. "You don't say much," he said, as he sketched the Wu Tang logo into his notebook. "But you don't miss nothing either." From there, it seemed like everything was automatic with him. We had the same lunch, so we ate together. Seeing each other seemed like after every class. By the time the final bell rang, I was completely drained, though. When I stepped outside, a crowd had formed near the front of the school. Not kids waiting for rides, but attention. Girls clustered together, laughing loud, pretending not to stare. That's when I saw them, Virgil and his squad. V stood in the center, confident, fresh fit, and a chain just sitting right on his chest. He didn't rush, didn't scan the crowd. He already knew he was seen. To his right was Raj. He was tall, broad shouldered, dark skinned, beard line sharp. Raj didn't speak much, but his presence did the talking. His name rang from Wilmington to Newark. Seniors knew better than to test him, and younger dudes knew better than to mention him unless it was with respect. To Virgil's left was Tommy. He was light skinned, slim, but solid. Always smiling like he knew something you didn't. Slick talker, but never reckless. If Raj was presence, Tommy was motion. That's when Virgil spotted me. "Ace," as every head in the crowd turned, including the baddest senior in the school, Virginia. She was in a class all by herself, the type of girl that everyone wanted to be associated with. I walked toward them, heat crawling up my neck. Virgil wrapped his arms around my shoulders like it was nothing. "This my little brother." The reaction was immediate. Whispers, smiles, and a sudden shift of tone. The rumor mill was starting to buzz. Virginia said, "V, I didn't know you had a little brother." Raj nodded at me once. Welcome to Penn, little bro. Tommy grinned and said, Yeah, you straight over here. You got any problems, just let us know. I ain't say much. I just stood there, realizing something important. My name wasn't just mine anymore. At the time, I thought that meant protection. I didn't yet understand how fast attention turns into expectation. As we started walking to the car, Virginia grabbed my hand. Hopefully, I get to see you tomorrow, V's little brother, she said, as she turned and walked away slowly. The way she said it wasn't flirtation, it was confidence. Like she already assumed I'd live up to whatever version of me she believed in. I stood there for a second longer than I should have. The feeling of her hand warm in mine. Around me, the noise picked back up, but it felt different now. Virgil laughed about something behind me. Raj and Tommy already moving on like it was just another afternoon. For them, it probably was. For me, it was the moment I understood what my dad meant. I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to do anything. People were already deciding who I was. CeeLo didn't walk into Wilmington High nervous. The school felt like home to him. Same faces from middle school, same blocks feeding in the different hallways. First day in, he moved through the building like he'd been there before, dapping people up, cracking jokes, already known. The attention came easy. Girls gravitated toward him naturally and smiles lingered longer. The teachers even spoke to him like he was familiar, like they expected him to be something. But Erica being there changed the energy. She wasn't a story anymore. Wasn't a yeah, I heard about that. She was present. Same hallways, same lunch period, same after school exit. CeeLo noticed her noticing him, but instead of leaning into it, he slowed down, watched his steps more carefully, let conversations breathe, like he knew one wrong move could tip something delicate. The confidence he wore all summer was still there, but now it carried weight. People started watching him closer, not just girls either. The older dudes who were in the streets respected CeeLo. CeeLo felt it, even if he didn't say it out loud. It was the first day and he wasn't just popular, he was visible. And visibility came with expectations. Being locked down in a full blown relationship was not the expectation. Erica approached CeeLo and asked him, Is this how things are going to be around here? As she noticed all the attention CeeLo was getting. I'm new here. I don't know what's going on around here, CeeLo replied, downplaying the situation. All right, cool. I won't cramp your style. Just know I'm not waiting around for you to notice you like me too, CeeLo. As Erica said that, she turned and walked out the building. Erica didn't look back as she walked off, and that stuck with him the most. She didn't hesitate at all. No second guesses. CeeLo stood there for a minute, the hallway noise sliding back into place around him. Somebody called his name from down the hall, and a laugh followed. Business as usual, but something had shifted for CeeLo. For the first time, being seen didn't feel like freedom, it felt like a choice, and every choice was already being watched. Mitch didn't wake up nervous that morning. He woke up focused. Ace carried weight, CeeLo carried confidence, Mitch carried intention. Even if he didn't have the words to explain it yet, Mount Pleasant sat up on a hill like it was watching everything below. Clean lines, wide hallways, and fields that actually looked like they were meant for sports. Mitch stepped out the car with his backpack slung low, Air Forces clean, athletic shorts on under his jeans just in case. Angie watched him from the driver's seat with her arms folded. Don't let nobody tell you who you are, she said. Yes, ma'am, Mitch replied, like he always did. He shut the door and headed inside without looking back. The halls were already buzzing, lockers slamming, kids reuniting like they'd been gone for years instead of a summer. Mitch moved through it smooth, not rushing, yet not lingering. People noticed him, but not like that. He was just another athletic kid, long strides and calm energy. That's when he saw Tanya. She was standing near the lockers with her friends, laughing, head tilted back slightly, hair pulled just right. She spotted him before he could pretend like he didn't see her. Her smile came quick, easy, like it was meant just for him. Mitch, she said, stepping away from her group. What's up? He said, voice steady, shoulders relaxed. They didn't do too much, just standing close enough to feel each other there. Tanya reached for his hand like it was natural, like she'd done it 100 times already. Mitch didn't flinch. He just reached back and held her hand. Whispers didn't start yet, but eyes definitely followed. Girls clocked her grip, while dudes clocked his build. Long arms, broad shoulders, and legs built like they carry speed without trying. You play sports? One of Tanya's friends asked. Yeah, Mitch said, a little. He wasn't lying, he just wasn't explaining. A lot had changed with Mitch over the last year. Coordination finally caught up with his speed, and Mitch turned into an animal when it came to sports. First period came and went, teachers talking about schedules being adjusted, rules being read out loud like anybody was listening. Mitch just sat in the back, quiet and alert. He listened and filed things away. In gym class is when it all happened. The class lined up for a simple warm up jog to get the period started. Mitch took off easy, not trying to stand out, but the longer they ran, the more space appeared between him and everybody else. It wasn't like he was putting up much effort, this was all instinct. His stride was smooth and controlled, like his body already knew where it was going. A couple kids laughed at first. It wasn't long before they stopped laughing. The gym teacher, also the coach of the football team, raised an eyebrow. Later during class, the boys started up a pickup game of basketball. Mitch didn't call for the ball. He didn't talk trash. He just moved with intention, slipping in the passing lanes, grabbing boards like timing was built into his bones. When he jumped, people were surprised. It was completely effortless, and he was clearly above the rim. Yo, who was that? Someone muttered. Mitch shrugged it off. He wasn't there for attention. He was there because it felt right. Movement always did. By lunch, word hadn't spread, but curiosity was everywhere. Tanya sat next to him with her legs angled toward his like they belonged there. You nervous about anything? She asked. Nah, he said honestly. As long as you straight, I'm straight. She smiled and leaned into his shoulder. Nobody knew what that did to him. For the first time, Mitch wasn't torn between who he was around people and who he was when he was alone. Being with Tanya slowed down the noise. It gave him balance, made him comfortable enough to stop hiding pieces of himself. That comfort was dangerous in the best way. After school, Mitch walked her to her bus. Somebody from the football team nodded at him. Junior was a senior, big dude, eyes sizing him up. You coming out for tryouts? He asked. Yeah, Mitch replied. Bet. As Tanya stepped onto the bus, she turned back. Don't be late tomorrow, she said. I won't, Mitch answered. He watched the bus pull off, then turned toward the field without really thinking about it. The grass looked different to him in the afternoon light. Nobody knew it, but that was the last day Mitch would just blend in. The first day, he wasn't a star, he was just a boy in motion. But motion, when it's consistent, always turns into something people can't ignore.